welcome Richard Branson, the Virgin team, and Cavendish Consortium as the latest members of the Startup Loans family. I'll just give you a quick brief summary. When I was originally approached by the government, who had a passion to help young British entrepreneurs in this country to start their own business, they approached me with effectively what was an idea. And Startup Loans was actually a startup business that had essentially no infrastructure, no people, but it was simply an idea. And I met Lord Caan, who had this real passion to see more entrepreneurs in this country. And I said, David, so how many businesses would you like to see Startup Loans creating? And he said, well, it would be amazing if we could have 1,000 businesses in our first year. So I thought, oh my God, I've done Dragon's Den for 4 years and I did 14 businesses. How do you go from 14 to 1,000? So, you know, quite a daunting task to create a business from nothing. And then I met the Prime Minister and Biz and said, you know, when people come in and pitch me an idea, normally I'm the one funding it, but to create 1,000 businesses, just out of curiosity, who's putting up the money for this? And the government said, we're going to allocate £84 million to support British entrepreneurs. So that sounds a bit weird, because normally you get people with the idea, but no money. These guys have got an idea and some money. Anyway, so we launched Startup Loans literally a year ago, from scratch as a startup business. And what I'm delighted to tell you that literally in the first 4 months, we'd started over 1,000 businesses. So for me personally, it was one of the greatest achievements of my life to be in a position to give other people a chance to start their own business, because when I was a young entrepreneur looking to start a business, these kind of things weren't around. And the only way I found the money to start a business was actually to draw money off my credit card, because it was the only access I could have to money. And today, to be in a position to give entrepreneurs up to £10,000 of capital to start their own business and give them a mentor, and we've recently just signed a partnership with Santander Bank, and what they're saying is anybody who goes to Startup Loans to get a loan and gets the business up and running, starts to generate revenue, they're prepared to add an extra £25,000 of unsecured capital to that entrepreneur. So the Startup Loans proposition gives you access to nearly £35,000 of unsecured capital, which is the only scheme in this country. Today, I'm delighted to tell you, we're now up to 9,000 businesses that we started in the first year. We're currently starting over 1,000 businesses a month. That's nearly 30 businesses every single day. Startup Loans today are literally creating thousands of jobs for this country, and certainly from my perspective as chairman of Startup Loans, it is without a doubt the best thing I could ever have done. So I'm so proud and delighted to be here to welcome Richard Branson, our latest partner. Richard.
Anyway, nice to see you all. Thank you, James, and it's good to see you, Zoe. Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, with Virgin Media Pioneers, was it 2 or 3 years? 2 years ago we met up. Yeah, we were asking all the pioneers what were the key things that really frustrated you in trying to get your business going. And obviously, one was cash, one was mentorship. What was the other one? Mentorship and cash. Anyway, mainly lack of cash. And I think, like a lot of other people on this panel, we started lobbying government to see if they could, instead of just doing loans for students in universities, whether they couldn't do loans for young entrepreneurs. Some people don't necessarily want to go to university. Some people who've been to university might want to get a business going. And I think pretty well every entrepreneur that I know had tremendous difficulty actually trying to get their business up and running. I was working from a school phone box, trying to sell advertising for my first magazine. I didn't have any money, but I discovered that if you rang up the operator and said you'd put money in the machine, she would put you through. So you actually had a secretary and free phone calls. And in those days, it avoided the pip, pip, pip as you rang up Coca-Cola selling advertising. And then my mum found a necklace, and she handed it in, and got £100. Three months later, nobody claimed it, so very small amounts of money can actually create businesses like Virgin, which employ a lot of people, and the great thing about this is, you can actually get some really quite decent loans, but often, literally, £1,000, £500 can be sufficient to build big companies in the long run.